everybody, it's Emily and this is Emmylou Arts, and today I'm going to tell you and show you how my mom and I made this jelly cover for my 2020 Hobonichi Cousin Avec. So stay tuned if you are interested in seeing how to make your own jelly cover. It was not hard, it was really fun, and you could do it. So definitely stay tuned. You're gonna see footage that I took while my mom sewed, and you can there's a little bit of commentary about how we did it. But right now, I'm going to just show you with these two pieces of grid paper kind of what I was talking about, and then I think it'll be really clear in the video what you see. Okay, so when I ordered my pieces of jelly, I had 2 pieces of black jelly and 1 piece of lavender. And when I got them, I thought that it was going to be long enough this way to be able to wrap around the book. But I mismeasured, or I'm not really sure what happened, but it was not long enough. So what we did was put the 2 pieces of black jelly together like this, and created an overlap in the middle so it made one long piece. This is going to be the spine of the book. The first thing that I did was line up my jellies like this, and then I made sure that I wanted this spine to be in the center. So I made sure that if you can see where these are overlapping right here, I wanted this distance here to be the same as this distance over here. And so you just kind of finagle it until both of these distances are the same, so that this ends up in your center, and then you can do your trimming from the ends. My finished measurements ended up being that my spine was 2 inches wide. And then where you're going to see in the video is where my mom starts and she sews down the edge here. And then she cuts across and then goes up here. And she's doing it as close to the edge as possible. Like, she's a pretty good sewer, so she only probably had like 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, which is like that extra space. So she sewed that square first, and it made one big long piece. And then you're going to see that we took this big long piece and we measured it this way. You're going to see in the video where I place it down, and we left 1/4 of an inch on the top and the bottom in order to give ourselves room to sew. And then we cut this excess off. So then we were left with this big long piece. That was the correct height of the book. So this height here of the entire book, after we trimmed it, ended up being, now these were our finished measurements, so 8 3/4 of an inch. That's this whole distance here. We then trimmed it to be the correct length this way, so that not too much was hanging over the side. So we ended up trimming some off of each side, and our finished length of the entire book ended up being 12 1/4 inch. So you have a spine that's 2 inches, the height of the book is 8 3/4, and the length that we ended up with was 12 1/4 inches. And then, so we trimmed off of each side so that this would still stay in the center. Do you know, does that make any sense? I hope it does. Because if we just trimmed off one side to make this 12 1/4, then this spine wouldn't be centered anymore. This flap would be shorter than this flap, and so this center spine piece wouldn't be wrapped around the center of the book, the spine of the book. It would be offset, if that makes any sense. I'm probably making this more complicated for you guys than it needs to be. I'm just explaining it beforehand so that in the video it makes more sense, the steps that we took. So this is still our 2 pieces. Mind you, we cut this off, so that's just extra. So we've just got this here. And then we used the lavender sheet and we cut it to be this height, 8 3/4 inches, and then we just split it down the middle. And each of those ended up being about 4 inches. What I'm talking about is this length here. So one was a shade longer, but the important part is that it is the same height as your black jelly, which is 8 3/4 inches, and it ended up being about 4 inches here. And you could see that she sewed. In the beginning, she started sewing here, and where the flaps go over each other, where this goes over, you want to make sure to back stitch a few times there so that this does not come undone, because this is a tension point where your notebook gets pulled, like taking it in and out. So this is a kind of a fragile spot that you want to make sure that you back stitch over so that it doesn't rip. And then she just continued along, boop, 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 boop. Back stitched here, and then did the same thing over on the other side. And like I said, our pockets ended up being about 4 inches. So keep in mind that these measurements are for the Hobonichi Cousin Avec. So each of the books is a little bit thinner. So if you're making it for a regular cousin that is all one book, your thickness of your book is going to be a little bit different. So don't use these measurements because it probably won't be long enough this way to wrap around your book, because the cousin is one big book and not 2 separate ones. So these measurements are just what we used for the thinner version. And then here's going to be my little caveat. This is our finished measurements. So it was 12 1/4 inches long, with a 2-inch spine in the middle, like total. So this 2 inches is in the middle, but this whole thing is 12 1/4. And then the height of the book was 8 3/4. Now, if you are not an experienced sewer and you think you might have a hard time getting really close to the edge with your stitches, I would maybe add a hair more space. Just make it a little bit bigger, because our seam allowance is probably 1/8 of an inch here. It's really close to the edge. Now, and it's a tight fit. It's like a perfect fit. So if you want it to be a perfect fit, then you can use these measurements and make sure that your seam allowance, especially on the sides, on the top and bottom, it's not so important because you can see we have that extra room here. I wanted it to be a little bit taller in case I put tabs up here. But on the sides, your seam allowance is going to have to be really, really small, but enough, obviously, that you catch both pieces of jelly, if that makes sense. So, like I said, kind of judge your own skill level and see if you think you're going to be able to get close enough to the edge to make that work. And if you don't think so, then I would add maybe even another 1/4 of an inch to this length. So it would be 12 1/2 inches. And that gives you a little bit more room to play on each side where you don't have to be so close to the edge. But that's just my advice. And then when it was all said and done, I wanted there to be a traveler's notebook strap around the middle to keep it closed. Like if I were to put it in my handbag, it stays closed without it just fine. But I just like having this strap around it. I'm kind of a traveler's notebook gal, so I used a crocodile and used the 1/8 of an inch circle and cut it in right on the spine in the center. And then I ordered these elastics. This elastic kit from Amazon. I'll link it below. It's from Sorrento Crafts. It's 30 yards elastic string, 2mm rubber rope jewelry cords. And I like this because there's so many different colors. So this is really fun because you could use whatever color strings that you wanted to, which is really fun. So I just decided to do black just at first, just to kind of see what I was doing. And then just cut, you know, a PCA long, fed the ends through, and then it's knotted on the inside so that it stays in there. And then it wraps around like this. And ta-da, that's our jelly cover. I just want to have a big shout out to my mom because she puts up with all my crazy projects. And this vinyl I ordered on Etsy from this shop, AdyCraftAddict on Etsy. And she sent me this vinyl, and so I can link her Etsy shop below, but there's plenty of places that you can order vinyls from, and you could have this say whatever you wanted. You could put 2020 on it, you could put your word of the year, you could put your name. I just thought this was really cute, and there's some super cute vinyls that different shops sell with like their characters on them and stuff, so you could really just do whatever you wanted to fancy it up. So this is my finished product, and I'm so excited, and I'm probably going to order more jelly from a different supplier and make another cover for the second half of my year, because these jelly sheets are only a couple dollars a piece. So if you do this project yourself, you save a lot, you know, you can save yourself a lot of money, and you could make a bunch of different colors so that you could change it out whenever you want to. So I'm not trying to diminish the value of what the Etsy sellers and shop sellers that make these and sell them. They're not overpriced. But what I'm saying is they are very skilled at what they do. But if you wanted to try and do it yourself, you definitely could, and it would be a way to save some money. And the thing about the black jelly is it's a little bit more forgiving because you can't see your sewing lines as well. It's the most opaque. So it gives you a little bit more camouflage if your sewing is not perfect. So you can keep that in mind if you'd like. So the very next part of this video is what I shot of my mom and I actually making it. So if you're more of a visual person and want to see it being done, this was just kind of a rough overview, and then you can see how we actually did it with this. So I tried to speed it up a little bit so it doesn't take too long, but that is there in case you want to see exactly kind of what we did. So I hope this was helpful, and please let me know if you have any questions. All right, so we overlapped these two pieces of the jelly going the long way and made sure that the overlapping distance was the same here and here. And then we cut off the excess so that we have 1/4 of an inch on the top of the notebook and the bottom of the notebook. And now my mom is going to sew a spine, so sew up where these two connect and on this side where these two connect. And then that will wrap around the spine of the book. You can take the tape off. I was just using the tape to hold it while I measured to make sure each side was equal.
Where's my other clip?
Did I drop it? There it is. You can't pin jelly, so we're using these quilting clips.
One clips.
Oops.
Pray for me.
It's gonna be fine. She practiced a little on the top and it sewed really easy. So this is the piece that we cut off the top, and she practiced sewing right here and it worked really well. It wasn't hard. So I don't care if it's not perfect.
Well, I do.
Oh, looks great. Did you catch both sides?
I hope so.
Well, you would enough to keep
Yeah.
it.
Well, are we going to go around again?
I don't know. I didn't think so, but do you think
Oh,
we should?
okay.
Let's see. Let's wrap around the book
Okay,
and see what
yeah,
it
we'll
looks
see what it looks like and then we'll decide.
So we created a spine. So that's what it looks like in the light. Perfect. Someone's beckoning you.
This is so slick.
My inside pockets are going to be lavender because I don't have enough of the black. I thought it was going to be tall enough to just wrap around, but I was wrong.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3.
8 3/4.
Okay.
No, it needs to be this length. This.
No. Yeah.
This. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. This way.
Oh, okay.
So in half that way.
Okay.
That's making our front flap and our back flap.
6, 7, 8.
Perfect.
Whew.
It's a high pressure situation. So now you've got the spine, and these are just gonna go boop in the...
We'd want it like that, right?
Yes. And it's not like sewing where you want to put right sides together because you're not flipping this inside out. You know what I mean? But we need to trim our length this way to make sure that we don't have too much. We made it the right size this way, but we hadn't done the length yet. See, it's too long.
But I thought we said when we folded it over.
That's too much extra. Okay, we've got our pocket. Make sure to double stitch right here so that I don't rip it, you know? Yeah. I'm telling like Yoda how to rule the universe here. She's a master, look at that.
Can't go real fast.
No. Slow down, Mario Andretti. Oh, that looks nice.
The moment of truth.
Right?
And we got a little trimming on this top one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I did a good job.
You did really good. So just see if it slides in there.
Please fit.
It will. Because I told you we have room on the top and bottom.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that beautimous thing. Now the question is wrapped around.
Ooh.
Oh, that's where it's the spine needs to be stretched. It's like the jelly almost needs to be pulled. Because the spine is stiff.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
It'll work.
You're just going to have to get real close to that edge. On the other side. The other pocket clamped on. Back stitching on this edge, just make sure that that's a tension point and it won't rip. Like, there you go.
Strings annoy me.
Okay, real close to this edge. We didn't leave ourselves a whole lot of breathing room. That was my fault.
You might tell people if they have a walking foot, it might be useful.
What does a walking foot do?
It goes through thick layers and it actually walks the fabric through.
I'll put the measurements for everything that we cut in the description of the video, so it'll be much easier for you guys.
I'll turn that off.
Dun, 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 dun.
Moment of truth. Until I'm not a good filmer.
Okay, gotta slide this in as far as it'll go. Butt it all the way up against that edge. And we gotta bend this back. Slide this in as far as it'll go.
Ooh, doggies, we got a tight fit. Yay.
Oh, except I want that to be the back. So, she's trimming the strings. It is perfection. That jelly is stiff on that spine, so it needs to be trained to like have that bend in it so that it's not, doesn't pop open, but it fits perfectly. Yeah, if you're gonna make these, this really helps. Clips. Quilter's Perfect Clip. Because you can't pin this. Look at that, you guys! It fits perfect! And there's room at the top for my tabs. The sides fit perfectly so that it doesn't balloon. It's amazeballs. These were the creases I was talking about, but I don't freaking care. I love this. Oh, I'm so thrilled. It fits perfect on the spine. Okay, so that's the overview of what we did. I know you didn't get to see the hole punch part or how I tied the elastic, but that's really self-explanatory. And like I said, the elastic is really just extra. You don't have to have that on there if you don't want. And just to tell you, when I got home last night, I put it in the notebook. And then I put 2 really heavy textbooks from nursing school like 13 years ago. I still had some textbooks, and I just put a pile of really heavy ones on top of it and just left it overnight. And that trained the vinyl to stay closed perfectly. So it's like a perfect fit, but it doesn't flap open. The vinyl just has to, you have to give it time to like kind of curve around to your book. And those heavy things definitely helped. So that might help you. So I plan to do a few more videos on how I'm gonna set up this baby. I'm really, really excited, you guys, and I have a few more things coming and ideas of what I'm gonna do with this year. And I have some really cute tabs that I ordered from Shine Sticker Studio that were in a $2 Tuesday. I'll show you those real quick. She had these black and gray holographic tabs, and they were mini. Because I had to place another order to buy the woodland creature kit because I couldn't not, you guys. Look at it. It's so flipping cute. And when I saw that she was going to have these on a $2 Tuesday, I had to do it because I knew I had a black vinyl and it was all holographic. So I got these black holographic tabs. So I'm going to have you guys be with me when I set this up for 2020. And I'm planning on doing some videos here in the very near future. Basically because I can't help myself. And I did order replacement vinyl for my mom for her little knitting girl. And then I ordered this one, Planner Love. So I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Like I said, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And thanks for watching. Bye, guys.